Lesson 59, Making Reports Pivotable. In this lesson, we'll take a look at how to clean up data in order to prepare it for making a pivot table. We'll also take a look at a pretty cool use of the multiple consolidation range feature. Well, here we have a great looking report. Someone took a lot of time to create and format this report. Unfortunately, the report is horrible for creating a pivot table from. There are so many problems. There's blank rows, there are months going across instead of months going down, and column A has both customer data and region data right in the same column. It's going to take a few steps to fix this data, but follow along. First of all, I want to break customer and region out from column A. So I'm going to insert sheet columns, and this will become the region column. Now I'm going to use the find function. Equal find, I want to find the word region within that text over there in B2. And when it's found, you'll see that I get a number. When it's not found, you'll see that I get an error. So knowing this, I can basically say, all right, if I'm getting an error from the find command, then I know that I want to copy the value from just above me. If I'm not getting an error, then I want to grab that value from column B. So we'll edit the formula. Equal if is error. Then I know that this is not a region field and I need to grab the value from just above me. Otherwise, I want to grab the value from to the right of me, B2. Now I'll copy this down to the whole data set and check to make sure that it's working. We should see East region, and then Central region, and then West region. Perfect. Okay, well now that that data is good, I'm going to choose the data, Control-Shift-Down arrow, copy the data, and use paste values to convert it to values. Next problem. In column B, they use something called outline format, where the customer appears once, and then the customer field is blank for the remaining customers. Oh, well, this is horrible. We need that customer name to be copied down everywhere, and I have an amazing trick that will solve the problem. I'm going to start from the very first cell that's blank and hold down the Shift key while I page down to the last cell that's blank. Now within this selection, I want to select only the blank cells. So find and select, go to special, and I'll choose blanks. Type the equal sign and the cell right above the current cell. So I'm in B4, I'll type B3 and press Control Enter. Control Enter is really the magic there. That enters the same basic formula in all of the cells going down the column. Now I need to convert these cells from formulas to values, but I'm not allowed to do that when I have a non-contiguous range selected. So I have to reselect the data. Start here, Control-Shift-Down arrow, again, copy, paste values. Okay, next. I have a number of rows here that don't belong in the data set. The East region heading no longer needs to be there. The customer total no longer needs to be there, and the blank row between customers no longer needs to be there. As I look at this data, I'm trying to spot some sort of a pattern, and sure enough, one interesting pattern is that if there is a value in the product field, then it's a record I care about. If there's no value in the product field, it's either the blank row, the total row, or the region heading. So let's sort by the product field. Go to the Data tab, choose A to Z, and basically anything where the product field is blank, I can delete those rows. Those are all blanks or totals. Home, delete sheet rows. Well, I've solved three problems now. I've broken the region and customer field out. I've filled in the customer field all the way down, and I've eliminated all of the blank rows that I don't need. I still have a very bad problem in that the months are going across. This is very common, and when we try and create a pivot table from this report, it really is not an efficient way to create a pivot table. Let's say that we would want to see perhaps customer along the left-hand side. And then we're forced to grab each of these numeric fields and add them going across. Well, that's not very good, because now how do we get a total for the whole year? It just simply doesn't work. We really need to rearrange that data on the original sheet. And I have a method here which seems so unnatural, but is very amazing. Give credit for this method to Mike Alexander. Mike is my co-author on the Pivot Table data crunching books, and he really came up with something amazing here. I'm going to insert a couple of rows. Actually, as we go through this, you're going to say, I don't understand where you're going. But watch it once and then come back and watch it again to see exactly how it works. So I'm going to insert a couple of columns. And in this column here, I'm going to build a field called key. What I want to do is I want to take the values from A, B, and C and concatenate them together with some unique character between them, perhaps a semicolon. Of course, I would want to make sure that there are no semicolons in my customer fields, but we'll build equal A2 ampersand and in quotes the semicolon. I'm putting the semicolons in so that way I can break these fields out later. Okay, so let's make this wider so we can see what we have. We have the region, the customer, and the product all separated by semicolons. I'll double click the fill handle, which will copy that down. Okay, now I'm going to create a pivot table from this section of the report, but I'm not going to use the normal pivot table. Instead, I need to go through the pivot table wizard and choose the rare feature called multiple consolidation ranges. In order to get to the old pivot table wizard, we can use the old Excel 2003 shortcut key, which is Alt-D-P. In step 1, choose multiple consolidation ranges. Click Next. We're now in step 2A, where we're going to say, I'm going to create the page fields. Click Next. In step 2B, we get to specify the ranges. Well, in this case, we're only going to have one range, and it starts here in E1. I'll hold down the Shift key, and down, and right, and I'll click Add. That's enough. I can now click Finish, and I get a brand new worksheet that looks exactly like the range that I started with. And you say, what the heck is the point of that? Well, do you remember back in lesson 49, where I showed you that we could drill down on a pivot table and see all of the records that make up that number? If you think about it, if you would drill down on the grand total, it would give you all of the records in the data set. Well, it turns out that if we drill down here on this 6.7 million, Excel will do an amazing thing. It will take our data and spin it so that the months no longer go across the top, but they now go down the rows. Perfect, that's exactly what we needed. The last thing to do is to break column A back out into 3 columns. So I'll insert 2 new columns. Select my data in column A, Control-Shift-Down arrow, and on the Data tab, use Text to Columns. My data is delimited by a semicolon, because that's the value that I used in the concatenation formula, and we can simply click Finish. Well, now I have region, customer, product, month, and the value, of course, was revenue. I now have a data set which I can use to build a real pivot table. Insert, pivot table. OK. And in this pivot table, of course, I can very easily see totals by region and product, or customer and product, or whatever I need to do. Well, this is probably the toughest lesson in the entire DVD, because we started with something that was very nice looking, but completely unsuitable for pivot table. So many different steps in order to fix this, breaking customers and regions out, filling in the blank customer fields, getting rid of all the blank rows, and then the completely bizarre, but very cool, multiple consolidation range trick to take the months which we're going across and make them go down. I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for watching.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.